Stephanie White, you are a joke.
Man, this was a tough game to watch.
This is ridiculous.
Caitlin Clark on the bench. I know Caitlin Clark is out right now.
The turnovers of the Sparks were ridiculous.
Indiana Fever unfortunately hired a snake oil saleswoman as their coach.
They need to learn how to stick the landing when it comes to pick and rolls, man.
What is happening on the court is horrendous.
Nobody loses a double-digit lead quite like Stephanie White.
Whether Caitlin's on the floor or not, we're still blowing leads.
I mean, what in the hell is going on?
But all I know is that this coach is a damn fraud.
Caitlin Clark comes back, hopefully healed from her new groin injury.
They say silence can be deafening. And last night, as Caitlin Clark sat on the bench watching her team crumble again, this time to a broken bottom-tier Sparks squad, she didn't have to say a word. Her expression said everything.
All in all, it's just a bad situation. It's just a bad situation with Fever, but that doesn't mean that even though she's not the biggest reason that Stephanie White is not looking like a fraud right now, because she's responsible for what's happening on the court.
Frustration, disbelief, maybe even fury. Because what the world witnessed wasn't just another Indiana Fever loss. It was a complete collapse, a meltdown that exposed the chaos behind the scenes and left Caitlin Clark visibly angry.
Every game is rinse and repeat. And this is on the coach. If this happens once, you can blame the players. If this happens twice, you probably start blaming the coach, but you might be able to blame the players. If this happens 3 times, you definitely start blaming the coach.
Not just at the scoreboard, not at the referees, but at the one person who's supposed to have this team ready, head coach Stephanie White.
This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Stephanie White is a joke, y'all. She's a joke. She is a joke. It is your job as the coach to make sure your team comes out ready to play ball.
Nobody loses a double-digit lead quite like Stephanie White. The Indiana Fever lost 85-75 against the Los Angeles Sparks.
And the fans, they're done being polite about it. It all started like a game the Fever had full control of. They were up by 10 points early in the fourth quarter. The crowd was alive, and despite Caitlin Clark's absence, there was still a sense that Indiana might finally pull out a statement win.
We were up 60-50 with 9 minutes left, and the Los Angeles Sparks proceed to go on a 35-15 run in the final 9 minutes to take the lead and then extend the lead and ultimately win by 10 points.
Missed layups, missed free throws, interior defense, and rebounding. That is why the Indiana Fever lost this game. Caitlin Clark comes back, hopefully healed from her new groin injury. We can see a really good product from the Indiana Fever backcourt.
The Los Angeles Sparks were reeling, coming off an ugly loss to the Chicago Sky, and looked like they couldn't hit a layup or hold on to the ball.
The Los Angeles Sparks just lost to the Chicago Sky, and we let the LA Sparks come into Indiana without Caitlin Clark and beat us? Are you kidding me? We lose by 10 at home?
Indiana had every opportunity to put the game away, and they blew it spectacularly. The unraveling didn't come from one big mistake. It came from a series of small, predictable breakdowns, each one a repeat of everything we've seen from this team all season.
At the beginning of the game, look, the Sparks were struggling. The Fever was struggling. I mean, we were making jokes like, yo, the end game or the final score was going to be 30-31.
Missed rebounds off free throws, lazy screens that created no separation, terrible shot selection, confusion on defense. The Sparks ran the same exact action, a flex cut and two-man game, for 15 straight possessions, and Stephanie White made 0 adjustments.
Stephanie White, you are a joke. You're terrible. You are terrible. How many games do we have to go by until you change the damn starting lineup?
0. Aaliyah Boston, once dominant alongside Clark in pick and rolls, looked completely ineffective. She was tossed around in the paint, finishing with just 4 of 13 from the field.
And the worst part about this is the most boring basketball. It is the most boring basketball ever, and every game is the same. They play aggressive, they get up by 10 points, and then they stop playing aggressive and they lose because they don't have the talent, they just have a play style.
And missing easy looks. She wasn't the only one. Natasha Howard started again, despite underperforming for weeks, and gave the Fever almost nothing on defense.
Nobody played well, but somehow they were in the lead. And then it all comes crashing down. Natasha Howard, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 for 9 from the field. Nothing memorable that Natasha Howard gave me. 0 memorable plays from Natasha Howard.
Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham hustled off the bench with 4 steals, and Lexi Hull grabbed 9 rebounds, but the team chemistry was fractured. Nothing felt cohesive. There was no floor general, no plan.
When Clark comes back, I hope y'all not going to be doing Clark, and then when she sit down, you're going to be putting Sydney Colson in. You are going to put Ari McDonald in next, right?
And through all of this, Caitlin Clark sat there watching, stone-faced, bottle in hand, shoulders tense.
Caitlin Clark, right here. Here's your Caitlin Clark highlight. Drinking from a water bottle, right here. That might have been the highlight of the night at this point.
Like someone who knew the ending before it happened. She watched as Ari McDonald fought to keep the team afloat with aggressive drives and gritty plays, but the collapse came anyway.
Ari McDonald trying to single-handedly, you see it at 71-68 with 3 left. She comes down. She tries to single-handedly get them back in the game. That was an and one. She hit the free throw and tied the ball game right there.
That as soon as we re-signed Ari McDonald, if Caitlin Clark couldn't start that game, Ari McDonald needs to start that game.
She watched as her coach stood frozen, arms crossed, face expressionless, no urgency, no strategy, no fire. When the lead disappeared and the team got outscored 35-7 in a single quarter, Caitlin didn't have to speak. Her eyes told the whole story. She was furious.
Man, if Caitlin Clark wasn't healthy today, don't even play her tomorrow. Let her continue to sit and get rest, because I wouldn't come back and fucking strain and pain to carry this team.
And who wouldn't be? This wasn't just a loss, it was a warning sign. This team, without her on the floor, looks confused, unmotivated, and helpless.
It was the first half was 34-30, and it was so bad. No team played good defense. Both teams just stunk up the joint.
When Caitlin Clark comes back, she can be in a groove. And if you match Caitlin Clark being in a groove along with Kelsey Mitchell being in a groove, that's going to take this team from 0 to hero.
And the one person who's supposed to fix that, Stephanie White, looked like she'd already given up. Stephanie White's coaching in this game wasn't just questionable, it was insulting to anyone paying attention.
Sydney Colson, 0 points. Stephanie White, were you watching this team when you were out on break? Were you even paying attention to this team? All those personal days you took off, were you still at least trying to keep in touch with what was going on? Stephanie White's lost. Lost on the sidelines. She has no idea what to do or when to do it. She has no idea how to do or why to do it. No idea.
Like, no, just flat. It's your job to make sure the team is ready to go. It's your job.
The moment demanded leadership, and instead she vanished. Standing there on the sideline with her arms crossed, while her assistant Austin Kelly ran the closing moments of a game slipping into disaster.
This whole thing we have been bamboozled as Fever fans, as Caitlin Clark fans. We have been scammed and bamboozled by Stephanie White and the entire Indiana Fever management.
So the Indiana Fever unfortunately hired a snake oil saleswoman as their coach, because I don't believe one word that Stephanie White has ever said. I don't believe one word of this. I don't put most blame for this season on Stephanie White. I don't. I put most blame on whichever one of Kelly Krauskopf or Amber Cox is making basketball decisions. I'm putting most of the blame on the front office, because in my opinion, the front office are the biggest culprits.
2 minutes left, the team bleeding points. And Stephanie White wasn't coaching. She was watching. detached, passive, like someone who's already mentally clocked out.
I mean, what in the hell is going on? Somebody said Stephanie Sides is killing us.
It was just bad. Stephanie White, you are a joke. Your team comes out with no energy. And I don't even want to hear what you have to say in the post game because you're a liar. You are a liar.
I can't even imagine being Caitlin Clark sitting down watching this and being like, oh man, this is an uphill battle. They really need me. They can't do anything without me.
And her decision-making all night proved that point. She stuck with Natasha Howard in the starting lineup yet again, a player who has looked completely gassed, slow, and ineffective. Howard gave them almost nothing, and yet White kept her in while Aari McDonald, the only guard showing real energy, sat far too long.
Aari McDonald, 14 points. She played well. She got to the line. She drove in the paint. 0 turnovers. Out of everybody that had minutes today, Aari McDonald was the only one not to turn the ball over.
Sydney Colson played 17 minutes and scored 0 points. 0, and she's getting more floor time than players with actual upside.
It's literally like watching the Fever is like when you play a video game and the algo hits in. You know when you're playing 2K and you go up by a certain amount of points and the game just starts screwing you? It's like the algo gets turned on against the Indiana Fever with the Steph White Fever. These Stephanie White's Fever are the biggest choke artists. Like I literally...
Why? Because Stephanie made off-season promises she refuses to break, even if it costs the team the game. That's not coaching. That's politics.
Hey, Stephanie White, your coaching was terrible. This is one of those moments, man.
We're choke artists with Caitlin. We're choke artists without Caitlin. Whether Caitlin's on the floor or not, we're still blowing leads. It's ridiculous. And at that stage, it's on the coach.
Then there's the offense, if you can even call it that. Possession after possession, the same motion sets that go nowhere. No creativity, no in-game adjustments, just a team moving through a script that no longer works, hoping someone bails them out with a contested jumper.
They need to learn how to stick the landing when it comes to pick and rolls, man. The picks, the screens, they need to learn how to set them better. Learn when to roll, when to just slip it, right? When to ghost it, when to just stick it. Learn the differences, man, and learn when to do them.
At one point, there were 4 players bunched up on one side of the court while the ball swung uselessly around the perimeter. Nobody cut. Nobody moved. The entire scheme looked like a team in slow motion, waiting for Caitlin Clark to walk through the tunnel and save them.
It's about Clark getting her the ball. Clark puts the ball in positions where she's comfortable to score. That's the difference. Not just someone trying to get her the ball. This team is 4 for 11. They were terrible. If y'all didn't see the game, trust me, they were terrible. There's no way we should have lost this shit. We were up by 9. But of course, we have a fucking coach who has her head stuck in the goddamn ground and don't know what she's doing.
But the most glaring failure? The inability to finish games. This isn't new. This is the 4th or 5th game this season where the Fever have blown a late lead.
Caitlin Clark on the bench. I know Caitlin Clark is out right now, so she's going to really be able to fill in a larger role. But when Caitlin Clark comes back, which should be pretty soon, like no Caitlin Clark out there and Kelsey Mitchell only shooting the ball 16 times is not okay.
Against the Aces, against the Mystics, against the Valkyries. And now to the Sparks, a team that had only won 3 games all season. Indiana didn't just lose. They let a bad team go on a 35-5 run in front of their home crowd.
Oh, no. The Sparks won. Oh, you thought the Fever won. No, why did you think that? Why did you think that? Can we stop playing games here? First and foremost, Stephanie White. I don't know if you're scared of getting beat up or if like you really don't know what's going on with basketball.
That's not on the players. That's on the coach. And Caitlin Clark sees it. She hears the promises made in press conferences and then watches her teammates walk onto the court confused, unprepared, and unsupported.
This game was awful. Aaliyah Boston cannot play without Caitlin Clark. I love you, Aaliyah, but it is what it is. If anybody needs Caitlin Clark, it is Aaliyah Boston. Caitlin Clark makes the game so easy for her.
If Caitlin Clark is not generating an open shot for this team, they just don't shoot an open shot. They just don't shoot an open shot. If Aari McDonald or Caitlin Clark aren't pushing the pace, they just don't run. Is it a fitness issue? Is it a stamina issue? Is that the issue? Did they not push them hard enough at training camp? Is that the issue? I don't know.
She hears Stephanie White talk about staying in her lane when asked about Clark's injury. But this is her lane, getting a team ready, holding leads, winning games. Instead, she's deflecting responsibility while everything burns around her.
Stephanie White, they ask you about Caitlin Clark's injury. You're talking about, oh, well, I don't know. Hey, I just stay in my lane. Now, all of a sudden, you stay in your lane where you can't even do what you're supposed to do in your lane, which is coaching and having your team ready to play basketball. I just stay in my lane. You act like you didn't even care about Caitlin Clark's injury.
This isn't just about a loss. This is about a team falling apart, a coach losing the room, and a generational player sitting on the sidelines watching her rookie year get wasted. And now it's no longer just fans calling it out.
But all I know is that this coach is a damn fraud.
And look, somebody asked me tonight, how well do I think the Fever can play without Caitlin Clark? And I said, honestly, they should beat most teams. I can think of 2 teams off the bat that they blatantly should not be able to beat as currently configured. The Liberty and the Lynx. All right? With Caitlin Clark, they could beat anybody.
Caitlin Clark has had enough. Her silence speaks louder than words, and her body language throughout this collapse was pure frustration. Sitting on the bench, shaking her head, avoiding eye contact with the coaching staff, it wasn't subtle. She wasn't just watching her team lose. She was watching the system crumble from the inside.
But it seems like unless Caitlin has an absurd game, this team potentially can't win.
Ari McDonald will be able to fill in for Caitlin Clark when she's on the bench, or even fill in for Kelsey Mitchell when she's on the bench. Or you might see lineups with Ari McDonald, Kelsey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark. It'll be a defensive nightmare for the Indiana Fever. But hey, they did it with Erica Wheeler, Kelsey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark last year, so it's probably not too far from a reasonable prediction of what this Indiana Fever team will go with. But
a system she was promised would be built around her, a pace she was told would match her game. But instead, Stephanie White's vision has turned the Fever into the slowest, most predictable team in the league. Behind the scenes, tension is boiling. Clark may not air it out publicly, but there's no way she's okay watching repeated blown leads, baffling rotations, and a coach who acts like this is someone else's problem.
Everybody shoots threes, but when Clark shoots them bitches, it's a problem, I'm realizing. This is starting to get on my nerves. This is starting to get on my nerves. We play the Dallas Wings tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're going to lose. Hate to say it like that. I hope we win.
She didn't come to the WNBA to be part of a rebuild held together by false promises and wasted potential. She didn't come to be babysat by a coach more committed to honoring backdoor deals than winning basketball games. The locker room? It's cracking. Players like Kelsey Mitchell start hot.
But another one of the Fever's problems in this game was the missed layups, kind of like on this play. Kelsey Mitchell getting down low, having a point-blank layup attempt, and she dismisses it. Beautiful footwork here. You just got to make your layups if you're Kelsey Mitchell. It was Kelsey, it was Aaliyah, it was Natasha Howard, it was Lexi Holt. It was every single player on this Fever team just missing layups. You have to be better when it comes to making your layups if you're this Fever team.
Only to be inexplicably benched and iced when the game matters most. Ari McDonald hustles, scores, and earns nothing in return.
Shout out to Ari McDonald. You stepped in and balled.
That Caitlin Clark was on the bench. People have been focusing on the fact that Caitlin Clark misses a lot of shots, but Caitlin Clark is more than her missed shots. She does a lot for this team playmaking-wise, and she is the sole reason why Aaliyah Boston is able to have such good games.
Ari McDonald, she wasn't great from the field, but she did drop 14 points, added 1 assist, 2 rebounds, 2 steals.
Natasha Howard gets cooked defensively game after game and still gets the nod. And no one, not even the fans, understands why. Caitlin Clark is smart. She knows what winning basketball looks like. She's been the face of the sport at every level she's touched.
When fourth quarters have mattered, and we're going to look for the entire season, like Stephanie White is just throwing games away. She's throwing games away. So if you look at the start of the season, they won it. They blew this one in the fourth quarter. They had a chance to win the game, and they blew it. They did come up clutch in this game in their defense. They had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. They blew it. They just weren't good down the stretch in this game. They came back. They made a huge comeback and then lost it in the end.
And right now, she's trapped in a system where the same mistakes get repeated No accountability is enforced, and the coach looks more like a spectator than a leader.
Guys, that's where the coaches earn their money. The ability to draw it up, the ability to get wide open looks when your team is inefficient from the field. By the way, they've been inefficient from the field a lot lately.
This isn't about one game. This is about a season that's spiraling out of control and a star who's watching her prime being wasted. The anger, it's real. And if the Fever don't wake up, Clark's frustration might just become a breaking point they can't walk back from.
They played terrible. There is no reason at all we should have lost to the Sparks at home.
This is malpractice. I'm so sick of Stephanie White, bro. I'm just so sick of it. I'm so tired of this stupid motion offense. I'm so tired of it. Why do we got to keep watching this? Why?
Caitlin Clark didn't say a word after the game. She didn't need to. Her silence was the loudest indictment of Stephanie White's failure yet. The body language, the distant stare, the refusal to even pretend this team is headed in the right direction, it all screamed one truth. This isn't working.
This team is not as all that depth that you kept talking about. We don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have it. This team is not good, y'all. This team is not good. This team is Caitlin Clark or bust, like I've been saying, and she won't even let Caitlin Clark play the CC system.
The Indiana Fever are wasting the most electrifying talent the league has seen in years, and every loss chips away at what little trust remains between player, coach, and front office.
It was a disaster. It was a disaster tonight. Stephanie White blew it. I'm not hearing no defenses of that at all. Where's this lockdown defense? This defensive guru?
Fans are done being patient. Clark is done pretending. And if something doesn't change fast, Stephanie White won't just lose games. She'll lose Caitlin Clark. And once that happens, there's no coming back.
I can't believe how they just dropped the ball in the fourth quarter, man. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it at all.
As abysmal as this entire game was from a player standpoint, because, man, these players did not play well. Kelsey Mitchell had a good third quarter. That's it. Erin McDonald, she played pretty well. I'll give you a pass. As for the rest of you, somehow, some way, we were still up 10 with 9 minutes left. And from that point on, it's up to the coach to take us home and get us some easy buckets so our offense doesn't look stagnant.
It is 85-75. And let's just start here. Fourth quarter points. The LA Sparks outscored the Fever by, 35-17. Doubled them up in the fourth quarter. All right. They showed Stephanie White at one point